This is your window into the Rider world. The Rider News and 107.7 The Bronx present the Rider News Roundup, the podcast. Our hosts Caroline Haviland, Grace Bertrand, and Ben Shinault are standing by and ready to give you insight on the stories and important events you need to know about. This is the Rider News Roundup, the podcast.
Welcome back to episode 3 of the Rider News Roundup podcast. My name is Ben Shinault, one of the sports editors, and as always, I am joined alongside
Grace Bertrand, the executive editor,
and Caroline Haviland, the managing editor.
All right, so to not waste any more time, let's hop right into it, guys.
All right, well, we've had quite a hectic 2 weeks in news, but let's just get right into it. Rider's nearly decade-long legal battle over the $42 million property of Westminster Choir College with the Princeton Theological Seminary has finally come to a close, as Rider is walking away with $13 million, and the seminary will receive $29 million, which is 69% of the proceeds. The agreement happened weeks after President Loyac took office on July 7th, and while former President DeLoma was awaiting his tenure's conclusion on July 31st. Now, Rider did not officially make a public announcement on the settlement, and Assistant Grievance Officer of Rider's chapter of the American Association of University Professors, AAUP, David Dewberry, said that the lack of an announcement regarding the settlement was questioned by faculty. And as a result of Rider's many financial woes right now, the formation of a campus resource preservation committee was formed to provide tighter oversight of university expenditures. And while these new initiatives were implemented to combat Rider's finances, Dewberry expressed a sentiment for the need of transparency and communication with faculty and staff on university matters to prevent a repeat of negative experiences like in the past administration. He said, if the administration is not going to be transparent with us, then it is clear to many faculty that the honeymoon is over and we're back to normal. Now you can check out the rest of the story that Caroline wrote for and on the ridernews.com. And I thought we could start doing a little segment here on the podcast where we can kind of let our writers give a little insight into what writing the story was like. So, Caroline, would you like to share what writing this breaking news story was like?
I would love to. Yeah, I guess Grace said it was a breaking news story. So usually we write stories before they be published on Wednesdays, but this was on a Friday, and it was a lot. There's a lot of history in Rider's kind of battle with this Westminster Choir College property, a lot that's been going on since like 2017, I believe. So yeah, I spoke with a lawyer who represented the Westminster Foundation, which is a group of Westminster alum and students. So he gave me a little insight on the legal aspect and how things were when this was initially going down in 2017. And I spoke to the dean, or one of the deans in the College of Arts and Sciences that is also a professor at Westminster, Jason Vodica. And yeah, and I spoke to David Dewberry, part of the AUP. So it was a lot of varying opinions on all of this. Everyone kind of shared the same sentiment that they're glad this is kind of over and we can maybe move forward, but it is very sad to see like how all of this transpired and like the things that this affected, that we lost this campus. But a lot of Westminster students seem to be, happy that Westminster is still alive and it's still around and people can still attend this school. So yeah, it was a really cool story to write, and I was glad to know more about it. So yeah.
Awesome. So interesting. And as I'm sure we're all aware, Rider is currently in a $21.8 million deficit as of fiscal year 2024. And President Loyac and Provost Kelly Beidel had hosted listening sessions throughout the past few weeks to hear potential ideas on how Rider can resolve these financial issues. And on October 6th, President Loyac sent out a university-wide email with some of the proposed ideas that stem from the feedback received in those sessions. These ideas include laying off additional personnel, reducing salaries, eliminating inefficient programs, and adjusting employee benefits, which could cause a lot of impact. In the email, he also broke the news that Rider's recent Westminster settlement of $13 million would not be helping the university's financial standing. President Loyac explained that while he was hopeful Rider could use the funds, he realized that the money must be allocated to paying off loans and money that Rider borrowed for prior year operating losses. You can read more on what President Loyac's university-wide email means for the future of Rider on the ridernews.com. That story was also written by Caroline. And then to wrap up news, and like I said, it's definitely been a hectic 2 weeks. Rider's faculty union, the AAUP, has been fighting back against the termination of former social work professor Kate Eck with on and off campus petitions and an organized walk by the executive committee on October 7th to hand deliver the petition to President Loyack. When the committee walked from Fine Arts to the ground floor of the Moore Library, which is where Loyack's office is, they were met with empty offices, and after some searching, they were able to stop Loyack on his way into his office to hand him the petition and also just voice their demands, which is reinstate Eck and also publish an apology for firing her. Now, the university, or the union, I should say, wasn't alone in their demands, as they were joined by a student who wanted to show up to support her professor's cause. Sharon Mason said some words to the president and also spoke with the Rider News after in an exclusive interview, along with Chief Grievance Officer Jeffrey Halpern and one of the at-large members, Richard Zidane. You can check out the full story on theridernews.com and stay up to date on what will happen next. I have been kind of covering all of those stories, so I'm really excited to see what will happen next. Caroline and I actually were at the march, I guess you could say. It was more of like a walk, but we can kind of give you some insight into what that was like. So I don't know, do you have anything you want to start sharing?
I don't know. I guess at first I was expecting like more professors and stuff, but these were just the executive board members of the AAUP. And yeah, they had their petition. It was like a few folders worth of stuff, and they all gathered together. And I remember seeing public safety like standing right by Fine Arts. They were kind of, I guess, waiting to see what was going to happen. And yeah, they were just, all right, we're going to go. And they got ready. And it was just, how many was them? Like 4 or 5?
Probably 5.
Yeah. And walked very peacefully. Just knew what they were going, knew what they were going to do.
They were definitely on a mission, and it was really cool to watch. Also, we had our photographer there, and it was really interesting I think that was our first time kind of being like on the ground when breaking news was kind of happening. So it was really cool, and getting these exclusive interviews is always awesome. So
seeing them talk to Loyack was also like, whoa.
Yes.
Like, because I didn't know like if any of them were going to be there. I'm sure they like knew this was going to happen. But when they found him, they saw him, that was pretty cool.
Yeah. I have to emphasize when we came in, and we were just observers, obviously.
Yes, of course.
When we came in, the offices were all empty. And so there was a slight chance that we were like, maybe this isn't going to happen today. But it ended up happening. And now we have a story. So yeah, that's all for news this week.
That's all. So much has transpired. But moving on to features and entertainment. And since it's the start of October, the Rider News has released this month's horoscopes. So to switch things up for this episode, we're going to read our horoscopes and see what awaits us this month. Now, every week, I don't know if you guys know this, we have our multimedia editor at the Rider News, Ian Will Santos. He edits these videos. He is amazing, and he sits here and listens to us talk, and then he edits these videos for about hours afterwards because he just loves listening to us speak. Anyways, Yinwell's a Pisces, and so is Grace, and me and Ben are both Libras. So how excited are you to read your horoscope, Yinwell?
I'm very excited.
Yes.
I couldn't be more excited.
Have you read them already?
I haven't.
Okay.
So
Good.
I completely forgot to, so this is my first time listening to them.
This is Yanwell, everybody.
Yes. Everybody say hi to Yinwell. Even though nobody's here. They'll say hi through their phones.
They're saying hi.
And in case we haven't announced this yet, oh my goodness, today's Ben's birthday.
Yes. Oh my God.
Thanks, guys. Thanks.
Happy birthday.
This is so fitting to
Thank you.
read our horoscope. How old are you? 22?
22.
Oh, wow.
I don't know about you,
but I'm feeling 22.
Okay. He's just
I don't know that well.
What?
You don't, it's only
know?
one line.
I only know like the bridge.
You don't know that song?
What's the bridge?
What we just sang.
Okay.
That's the chorus.
Oh, yes, that's right.
Oh.
Okay.
Anyways, back to the horoscopes, guys. Okay, so Libra. Ben, are you ready? Okay. You could have just said, yeah, you didn't have to do it.
Sorry.
You will be going through a rebirth. Fresh starts and emotional breakthroughs await you throughout this month, Libra. Shed outdated beliefs, redefine your identity and relationships. A new you awaits. Now, I don't know about you, Ben, but when I read this, I was like, wow, this is speaking to me. How do you feel? How do you feel about this horoscope?
You know, I feel like Libras are, I think every month I feel like it's kind of like, you know, tough conversations, lots of emotion. And I do find myself, you know, sometimes having to have that tough conversation.
Yeah.
You know, whether I want to have it or not. You know, it makes me a stronger Libra, right?
Period.
So, you know, I like it. You know, it makes me, you know, it makes me prepared, right? So
Wow.
I resonate.
that was
I
so
resonate with it.
I was expecting you to be like, yeah, it was cool.
That was
Yeah,
like
you know, like the stars.
that was some of the most depth I've ever like seen from you, Ben.
Yeah,
I'm just like,
right?
wow.
Thank you, Grace.
Okay. Yeah, I agree. I thought this was really fitting. I feel like, yeah, the rebirth part and like the redefine your identity relationships. I'm not going to go into my personal life, guys, but like, that's for real. Anyways, Pisces, are you guys ready?
I'm so excited.
Okay.
I'm so ready.
This month is transformative for you, Pisces. Emotions run deep and more volatile as your psychic sensitivity is at its peak. Release emotional baggage, get into your spiritual work, and take the time that you need to heal. Guys, what do you think?
Wow. Yeah, well, do you want to
I
go
feel like
first?
these horoscopes were pretty deep.
Yeah.
I feel like
Right?
usually it's like, you're going to have a good week. These are like, yeah, work on yourself.
Yes.
I feel like as Pisces, our emotions are like always running deep. But yeah, I think it's a good thing that we'll be getting into that mindset of like working on ourselves, bettering ourselves, healing ourselves. Grace?
Yeah, I agree with you. Pisces are always a little bit more on the emotional side, but you know, hearing that this is a transformative month for me, I'm excited to get more into October. I don't know if I've felt that transformation just yet, but maybe
only-
like
it's only the 9th.
October 15th, yeah, it'll hit or something. I don't know.
I feel like I'm getting a little more intuitive. I don't know, I feel like my psychic abilities.
Yes, I'm
Period.
releasing emotional baggage. I feel lighter actually.
Light like a feather. Both horoscopes are very similar. You know,
Yes.
you define yourself in a different way, but you can read your horoscope written by Zayn Bell and check out Gail Demaraski's beautiful horoscope graphic for this month in the Rider News' October 1st edition. And you have to go check it out. Gail does such an amazing job every month laying out this beautiful page. And I did such a great job with horoscopes. I'm sure he will do them again next month. Thank you, Yanwell. Thank you for...
Thank you. Everyone
Thank
say
you,
bye.
guys.
Say
Bye,
bye,
Yanwell.
Bye, guys. I'll be like 2 centimeters
In the-
away. Yeah.
I love having
Bye-bye.
you here. I was so excited when I realized we were doing this. I was like, Yanwell has to make a feature. He needs to be in this week's episode. But moving on to a very popular Rider event, Rider's Drag Race took place on September 26th, featuring performances from both local drag queen legends and Rider students who all carried out a central Y2K theme. The competition rules went like this. 2 performers shared the stage for a song. Then the audience chose who they wanted to advance to the next round by cheering louder for their favorite. And then the winners of the previous round would face off in the same way to a different song until the winner was determined. The evening featured 8 student performers, and in the end, sophomore general liberal arts major JC Church, who performed as JC, was crowned as the winner after stunning the crowd in the final round by performing the main event by RuPaul. Now, I felt like I was actually at this event when I read Sophia's story. She did such a good job describing it. We actually have a photo gallery up on the ridernews.com if you want to see photos of this event. Now, I know we just told you, Yanwell, that you were going to step away, but who took these photos? It was Abby or
It was-
Richard?
Yes, it was Richard Saib.
Richard Zai. Richard
Yes.
did such an amazing job. Did you take photos too, or was it just him?
I took photos. They weren't very good.
Okay.
He took all the good ones.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, all the photos look amazing, so you can see Richard's photos, and you can read more about the event and Sophia Santiago's stories on the Rider News' October 1st, my goodness, edition on the ridernews.com. You got to go check it out, guys. This is such a good event.
It was really good.
Yeah.
Also, I do want to say that to Yanwell's point, though, there is a photo gallery with some of Yanwell's photos and Richard's photos.
Okay, they're both
in the
in
photo,
the photo
gallery,
gallery.
on ridernews.com.
Yes. Okay, good to add. Got to give Yanwell his credit. And to close out the features and entertainment segment of this episode, we're going to talk about a special Hispanic Heritage Month event. Mercado Central was hosted on the campus mall on October 7th. And the tabling event displayed a series of artists, creatives, and organizations mixing Rider with its neighboring communities. The tables featured artwork, a variety of crafts, airbrush painted designs on clothing and face painting, which allowed artists and campus organizations the opportunity to proudly display their cultural backgrounds. And the event also featured delicious Hispanic foods like pupusas, tacos de birria, and flautas, with the beverages horchata and, okay, I'm going to butcher this, agua de Jamaica. Did I say that right, Yemo?
I'm
No.
assuming you did.
Okay, cool. I didn't know. Maybe you speak Spanish, so maybe you would know something.
I've never heard Jamaica pronounced in Spanish.
That's how I heard somebody say it, though. How would you pronounce it?
The same way.
Just Jamaica?
I think I would just say Jamaica.
Guys, I'm
But
embarrassed.
Jamaica's probably right.
Right? I don't know. I feel like I heard somebody saying that at the thing. It was an amazing drink, is all I'm going to say. I tried it, and I was like, wow, I wanted to go back for seconds, but the line was really, really long. And I wanted to give everyone a try to have it. This is one of the many events held in honor of Hispanic Heritage Month, which occurs annually from September 15th to October 15th. Me and Grace were there, and I think your club was also tabling. I told Yenbo he was going away, and I'm literally talking to Yenbo this entire time.
It's not ideal.
Yeah, I'm so sorry.
I feel like I should like get him down.
Yeah.
Hello again,
Anyway,
guys.
yes, we couldn't. I can't have enough of Yenwell. I'm sorry.
I can't
Anyways,
have enough of you guys.
what was your club? What club were you part of?
Club de Español.
Okay.
Yes, it's upcoming. Still in the process of getting it together. We just recently got rejected, but it's because of like formatting issues in the Constitution.
Okay.
So make sure you look over the samples, I guess, if you're looking to start a new club. But yeah, that's hopefully going to be very much in the works soon enough. But yeah, I was there with my table. We did El Salvador. One of my club members, Stephanie, is El Salvadorian. So yeah, we got some pupusas, got some decorations, tried to make it look all cute and stuff. And I was just there grabbing photos of the event. And it was just a really fun time. I think they turned out pretty good, if I do say so myself. Much better than my drag race photos for sure. So yeah, it was just a really good time.
Yeah, it was a really nice event. All the artwork and all the different organizations there, it was very beautiful. Me and Grace both went, and the food was really good, right? Would you say so, Grace?
Yes, it was. It was really good.
I would also say so.
You can learn more about this event and Jasmine White's story in the Rider News' October 8th edition. And that is all for features and entertainment.
It's time to talk about sports here. If we get started here, in our last episode of the Rider News Roundup podcast, Rider men's and women's soccer kind of still off to that sluggish start. When we were talking about it last time, we were talking about how they're entering conference play and they're just getting out of conference matchups. So that's why the record does look the way it is. But so far in the MAC play, it still hasn't looked too pretty for both men's and women's soccer games. We take a look here at our scoreboard. Bronx fell to the Niagara Purple Eagles 2-1. And then we did draw with the Manhattan Jaspers 1-1. And then we drew against Siena 3-3. Now let's talk about the Siena game a little bit. Bronx dominated the first half, up 3-0. And I was following it, live stats. I was, covering the game as a journalist does. And I was like, oh my God, we're going to get one. We're going to get 3 points. We're going to get our first win since, I believe, September 1st. So it's been a while, but, I was like, all right, 3-0. Let me put my laptop aside. I know. We're going to walk away with the dub. It was like, I think it was 76. We're in the 76th minute. I was like, oh yeah, we're gonna walk out. I checked it again. Okay, we're up 3-1. Siena scored. I'm like, all right, that's fine. A couple minutes later, not even, I think it was 90 seconds, 3-2. I was like, oh God, what's happening? And then they ended up tying 3-3. So obviously a devastating, crushing loss for the Bronx to kind of blow that 3-0 second half lead. That's kind of putting salt in the wound right there. But, at the end of it, we did pick up 2 points, still searching for that first win since September 1st with a 1-7-3 record. We're so far last in the MAC, and we've only scored 12 goals in the last 11 games. That's an average of 1.09 goals per game. And unless you have the best goalie in the nation, you're not really going to have a lot of wins with that. So, we'll see. I've been talking to Coach Dernberger, like players, this roster has had a massive turnover. I mean, you got to give them props. The last 2 seasons they've been in the MAC championships, they've been contenders every single year. And now that Coach Sternberger has come to campus and has transformed this soccer team to what it is. And when now you have this year of, okay, a lot of guys left, let's rebuild, obviously you're going to see a record like this. So you just got to have some faith in this team. Although I am graduating, I have faith that this team can, kind of get back to their, MAC championship winning pedigree. Talking about women's soccer now, they're also struggling. Rider fell to Sacred Heart 4-0, tie with Mount St. Mary 0-0, and then we're shut out by Merrimack 4-0. So if you do the math there, that's 10 goals in the last 4 matches. That's not a very good stat. But coming up, similar to the men's side, the scheduling's been tough, roster turnover. But sometimes there will be positives emerging. One of those positives is freshman goalkeeper Ashley Moore. In the MAC, she's 5th in shutouts, 4th in saves, so she's killing it as a freshman. So, little tease here, Samantha Clark, the feature king, really, at the Rider News. We'll be writing a feature on Ashley Moore this week, so make sure to check it out online on Wednesday morning. Definitely going to dig into, her first year at Rider, what she's doing, and how she's doing it. Maybe get some insight from Coach Hunsom, we'll see. And also, women's soccer is also last in the MAC. So it's been a tough year for both men's and women's soccer, unfortunately, but it's part of the game. Field hockey, though, talk about a mid-season turnaround. They went from losing 5 straight to winning 4 straight, I believe, and last week they were in the midst of that 5-game losing streak, and I think it was the first time they lost 5 straight since 1999. Wow. I did some deep research on this team, and they were a powerhouse in the mid-2000s, and right before that Y2K, I mean, they were the stuff, for lack of a better term. So they are back to 500 now, 5-5 record. Valeria Perales is crushing it this season. She has 8 goals, and she won the National Field Hockey Coach Association Offensive Player of the Week. That is the first time a Rider Brunk has won that award in program history. Wow. So Valeria definitely deserving of that. She also won an NEC Offensive Player of the Week. So Valeria doing what she does, kind of putting this team on her back offensively and just crushing it. But like I mentioned before, from losing 5 straight to winning 4 straight shows a lot, especially when you're getting coached by a first-year coach. They kind of have that mid-season turnaround. Definitely shows that this team has fight. And I dabbled in a feature this week. I wrote a feature on Morgan's Message. It's about Morgan Rogers. She was a lacrosse player. One of the top high school recruits in the country. She went to Duke, and then she suffered an injury, and unfortunately, she took her own life. But from this arose Morgan's Message. It was kind of an outlet and a safe space for all student athletes, not even student athletes, anyone that goes to a university or a college can use Morgan's Message to come together and talk about mental health. Unfortunately, there is a stigma in athletics where you have to be tough. You have to focus on your on-field production. But Morgan's Message kind of just takes that stigma and just throws it in the trash. I got to sit down with Kira Mansher, who is the president of Morgan's Message, as well as their social media chair, Paige McGuire. I was able to have a nice, long conversation about kind of what Morgan's Message is, what they do on Riders campus, and what the organization does as a whole. It was just, it was a very, very good feature to write. I think it was way beyond due. Morgan's Message came to Rider in 2022, so it was definitely about time that we wrote a feature on them. So shout out to Libby. Libby did, she did give me the tip on this story, so I got to give Libby props if she's listening to this.
Libby's our opinion editor.
Yes. So yeah, definitely check Morgan's Message out. It's definitely a different story that I'm used to writing. I never really wrote a sports feature on, obviously there were athletes involved, but it wasn't like talking about like their stats on the field. It was talking about how they handle their mental health, which
outside of all that,
definitely very cool to kind of get that aspect out of a student athlete. So
I do have to say, as your executive editor, I was really proud of the story. And also, this was the first time you were kind of telling an athlete's story without getting to interview them. And so I think you did a really good job, man.
Thank you.
I concur. It was a really good piece.
So, I mean, that's all we got for sports this week. Basketball is coming out. I think actually the next time we step in this studio, I literally think that the basketball season will be underway.
Yes.
So
So-
that's awesome.
See, now I don't want to be a negative Nancy here, but the same thing has happened with both basketball teams. Like this, ever since the NIL came into play, like just the roster turnover is crazy.
What
it's
is that, NIL?
It's pretty much athletes get paid to come to colleges, or they get paid for their name. So if they go to a bigger school, that means more opportunities for money.
Okay.
So I just think just like taking a look at the basketball teams, it's a lot of new players, a lot of freshmen. So with that, I mean, it could mean we have a dynasty. We have a ton of awesome freshmen that went under the radar, or it could mean, just maybe they're not ready for the D1 level, but I can't say that yet. They haven't even touched the floor yet. So I'm gonna-
That's true.
And also, the week of basketball play will be our last print edition of the semester. I believe it's October 22nd.
yes.
So you should pick up a paper, support the Rider News.
All right, that's all I got for sports. Any final comments, guys?
There was a lot that went on the past 2 weeks in news, features, sports. We had a lot of really good events, and I'm really excited for October. I think the next time we'll come into will be Scream Screen will have happened, and I'm really excited about Scream Screen. It's I think it is my favorite event that Rider puts on as a whole. So
That's going to be awesome. You can reveal what the movie was.
yes, I voted for Five Nights at Freddy's.
I voted for It. What did you vote for, Ben? Did you vote?
My roommate forced me to vote for it.
It.
Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
but I low-key
And what's the
wanted-
third option?
It was.
We just looked at these yesterday.
Was it Sinners?
and I forgot.
It was
Yeah,
Sinners.
okay.
Sinners.
Yeah.
Yes.
I wouldn't mind seeing Sinners, but
I wouldn't mind seeing any of them.
Yeah. I think they're good,
I
solid
liked all of them.
options. Yeah.
Okay, well, I think that's all, folks.
Check out Rider News and social media. We have meetings every Wednesday at 4:30 in the basement of Longstreet House. We have a new paper out every Wednesday. You'll get an email at 10:30 every Wednesday. Am I missing anything, Ben? Am I missing anything, Grace?
I think that's it.
I think just like I said last time, just check out the this week. If you go to our digital edition on the top of page 10 for sports, you can donate to our digital newsletter. So you can, you might not have the physical paper, but you can always, check out what we have to say each week on your
Yeah.
mobile
Always
device.
there may even be, you may not even have to enter the digital edition. There may be something, a QR code on our website as soon as you go on there. So, yes.
Whatever you prefer, folks. But there are options.
Tell your parents, tell your grandparents, tell your dogs, tell your cats.
And that's all, folks.
That's all.
Should we sing Ben Happy Birthday?
Yes, let's all close out and
Okay.
we'll turn on your mic.
Yeah.
Ready?
Anyone like this?
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Ben. Happy birthday to you.
Thanks, guys. See you next time.
All the important information we have for the day. Thank you for listening to the Rider News Roundup, the podcast. To stay up to date on new episodes, listen to past episodes, and know everything happening at 2083 Lawrenceville Road, go to 1077thebronx.com/Rider News Roundup.